Well, good afternoon, everybody. Doug Jenkins from the Findlay Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. We are celebrating member anniversaries this afternoon, and joining me is Stanley Miller with Miller's Meat Barbecue and Catering. You also know him from the root beer and barbecue stand. Stan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it.
So when you guys joined 5 years ago, as we celebrate your fifth anniversary as a chamber member, I was really excited because one, I love good food, and two, you are really committed to doing something unique in the community, and that always makes for a great Chamber of Commerce member. Let's just talk about the last 5 years of everything. You haven't slowed down a bit. You keep adding stuff.
Yeah, no, we're trying. It's been a interesting 5 years for sure. You figure we've taken over the business, COVID, which is crazy enough. It's almost 6 years ago.
Yeah.
We've taken over the root beer stand 3 years ago now. So, and we're actually getting ready to embark and launch on our first ever website and going to a retail and online service to where you can purchase online and pick up in store. And we're actually working on delivering and shipping as well, inclusive on that online access.
What is that like? I mean, obviously, when you came into this, you had an idea for the business, and that's really gone well. But to grow and expand and be competitive in the marketplace, I imagine you have to take on something like that. What has that process been like for you? And just walk us through the decision to add that type of service.
Yeah, I've been thinking it over at least the past year, last couple of years is, the business is only going to grow so much in our demographic with the brick and mortar. And with technology and stuff moving as rapidly as it is, and AI, and then internet, and then obviously web-based stuff and delivery apps. And, I actually learned through COVID. So when we were not allowed limited access into the store, we actually kind of set up a secondary burner phone in addition to our phone. People were placing orders. We were taking orders out to cars, receiving payments, bringing stuff back. And it all kind of came through last year. And I started having this vision. I'm like, grocery stores are doing a lot of this order online, pick up in the parking lots, being very, convenient and easy for people. I think part of it too, with me, with my kids now, I understood sitting in a car with a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and now they're 4 and 2. It's hard to get in and out of vehicles sometimes, especially when you go into stores, if you just want to grab a couple things. So I was like, we've learned through COVID, like, why don't we just start acting that? And then I've been working on the website since probably February this year. We're getting ready to launch it. So we'll have that option to be able to order online, purchase online, pick up in store, and then also potentially, like I said, get delivery, local delivery, but also shipping. And we've actually shipped our first boxes out to Houston, Atlanta, Miami, and also Destin, Florida as of last week. So it was a way to expand the business. The brick and mortar itself, like I said, can't grow, so we got to vertically integrate the business. And I feel that was the opportunity to be able to do so between social media and web-based apps.
You mentioned setting it to so many different states, and I think that especially for a business like yours, where people really associate it as part of the community, and they want to send a taste of home to friends who live far away, or maybe they have family that have moved away and want to send them that. That's a game changer just in that result. Hey, we're gonna get you some brats from back home and deliver a little bit of Findlay to you. That just from an economic standpoint, it makes sense. But I think from a business that's been such a part of the community, it makes a ton of sense too.
Yeah, I kind of got inspired too with the university across the street. My nephews and nieces are in college, and I'm like, like people that may live out of town and they know there's like a local meat market, they can order online, purchase online, and then they can have their students or their kids come in and pick up stuff, so they don't have to worry about transactions. And vice versa. Like you said, there's a lot of people come and go, a lot of business people, a lot of, the bigger corporations in town that people get transferred out for, growth and development reasons, that like the product that we offer, and we weren't able to get it to them before. So now we're kind of expanding on that to where we can get you the products that you're used to. If it's, people like our smoked andouille, or if you like our aged ribeyes or whatever it may be, we can get it to you now.
I have to tell you, one of my favorite discoveries this year at the store. I went in to pick up some stuff for a cookout, and got some brats. And there's always the mystery brats. So finally, I had to ask. All right, without spoiling it, tell me what a mystery brat is. And I don't know if you want to give away the secret or tell us that, but I thought it was a really cool way to use all of your inventory.
Yeah, we're still artisan. We still hand stuff sausage. You do natural casings, and when you're stuffing sausage through what we call the cone or the head of the grinder, because we have a pretty large grinder,
Mhm.
there's usually what I call like brackish, sausage. So the flavor that we're running going into the next flavor, there's a little bit of mix of this, a little bit of mix of that. And sometimes when you're grinding like that, we may be doing a couple 100 pounds at a time. So when you get those little gaps in between the sausage or what we call runoff, so those in between runoffs, sometimes the flavor would change or alter. So then what
Mhm.
we do now is we take the last two or three from each run, the first two or three for the next run, and then we twist those and we put them as mystery sausage because you just don't know what you're going to get. Like you may get a couple pieces of cheese from the one before, or you may get a
Right.
blueberry, or you may get a piece of the ghost pepper cheese in it.
Right.
So the mystery brat was a fun way for us to put it out there to kind of just tease a little bit and explore a little bit to see people that how do I say want to explore a little bit in their tastes. And you may get one flavor all the way through. You may get two or three every time you take a bite. You get a different flavor. So it's kind of just another fun spin on our house made bratwurst.
The drawback to that one is if you get a really good one on accident, it's kind of a unicorn. You almost can't reproduce it.
Yeah, that is true. But that's also how we learn, because if we get that feedback, like, and it sounds crazy, but that's how culinary works. Sometimes it's the mess ups that you learn most from. So we come up with some creative flavors, and we actually just started doing some this past week, which were pretty cool. We did a new peaches and cream, which is a nice spiced peach and habanero, where we made a house made jam. So pretty cool.
It's awesome, and you just get that unique touch there, which is, I think, what makes it such a part of the community. What would you say the biggest lesson you've learned over the last 5 years has been? Like you mentioned, yeah, I think all of our members who joined during COVID, I always have such an appreciation for, because that was a tough time for everybody. But like you said, you learned a lot there. Was that where you did the most learning, have there been more lessons along the way?
Yeah, I think there's continual lessons. You got to be able to embrace them. That even though they may hurt, we learn through our adversities and we learn through our struggles. That's just the way we are. I think COVID was a big one. That my previous training with Ritz Carlton, but also it
Mhm.
reminded me that the employees are the most important resource. It's not about me. To keep this business running, we need each and every one of them. And to take care of them and support them. Most recently this year, we've put multiple people on salary. We're also, paid benefits that we're offering now. We're
Mhm.
also offering IRAs, and we're reinvesting in those that invest in us. And the analogy is if you take care of your people, they'll take care of your customers, and if your customers are taken care of, they will keep coming back. And that's what keeps this business running, and that's what's kept us running for almost 4 decades now. And to me, that just it goes back to that. Like people ask all the time, like, do we have issues with hiring? I've never
Mhm.
had an issue with hiring. And I just believe that's the culture that we're creating and that we're executing to with the brand between the root beer stand and the meat market. That people want to be a part of it, and we've
Mhm.
actually had multiple people that have went out for a year, 2 years, worked a job, two different jobs, came back and said, Stanley, we want to come home. Like we want to come back. Like there's just something special about what you guys are doing here. And that to me is what I've learned the most, that it's not about me,
Mhm.
you know.
That's a really cool story. And it's great that you're offering those types of benefits. And I think the job in itself is unique. It's not just a job, it's a craft. Like
Correct.
you can't just go in and assembly line what you're doing. There's a, like you said, there's an art to it. So you're able to teach people that as well when they come to work for you, which is also a really cool benefit to it.
Yeah. And like they say, it's like you become a master when you can learn how to teach,
Mhm.
and that's the thing. And it's, when you truly start applying and putting these things, and you got years and years and years of experience, and when we can, grow the futures and the next generations and having a mix and match of the olders and youngers and the ones in between. And, there's a lot more to learn in this business. It's just not a meat market. And I want it to be a career. I want it to be someone that's proud of us. Say, hey, we
Mhm.
work at Miller's, and people are like, oh my gosh, I love that place, man. And it makes people so proud. And I don't know, one of my kids was at the gym the other day and someone's like, you're that guy from Miller's, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, we love that place. And like, it made him feel good about it. And that's the type of environment we want to create. And it takes the support of the community, but also us supporting back the community and also giving back. And there's a greater purpose outside of myself in this business. And right now this brand is we're providing for almost 45 people this summer
Oh,
between
wow.
both businesses. And that's my fuel every day. My two kids and the 45 people that rely on me every day.
Well, Stan, it's a great story. If people want to learn more about it, or maybe they just want to come in, check out what's in
Yeah.
the counter, maybe they want to get a mystery brat, maybe they want to get stocked up for a weekend cookout, or learn more about the root beer stand. What's the best way to get in touch with you and learn more about the businesses?
Well, like I said, we got our own website, our own domain, so you can reach me at stan@millersmeat.com. We're about to launch a website. We're all over Facebook, Instagram. Just started a TikTok page. People want to follow that. That's for me documenting my life for my kids so they can look back one day and see a day in the life of their father. So that's Stanley.Miller316. Stop in the store. I'm always around. I'm an owner operator. That's the way I operate. And, either that or you can, people in the employees, they know how to get a hold of me, or my business card's there. My cell phones are there. I'm accessible. I'm not all owners are accessible. I want to make sure that I am accessible, and I want people to know that.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. We appreciate everything you do for the community, and thank you for being a chamber member as well. Thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Doug.
For Stan, I'm Doug. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.